I just had the hardest time getting all this stuff set up. I'm trying to really dial in my audio, and I was running into some issues, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to end well. And then it did end well. I'm recording this on April 29th. I should be releasing this today or tomorrow, and I'm really dialing in my outline for the podcast. What I've currently been doing, which I'm so excited about. I've probably put like 20 or 30 hours into this, and it is driving Mariah a little bit crazy, but I think I'm becoming an expert at ChatGPT and a few other things. What I do is every morning on my run, I record my run with my microphone. Then I transcribe the recording, put it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT creates a report of my morning thoughts. Then at the end of the week, I compile all the reports and all the transcripts. And then I have ChatGPT draw up a podcast outline, breaking different parts of the podcast into categories of my life, like relationships, family, health, fitness, business, creativity, personal growth, and philosophy. So it takes the conversations that I enjoy talking about, and then it gives me a couple quotes that I said on my runs, and then it gives me a couple prompts to bring up that memory again so I can talk about it with you guys. I just want to say thank you for anyone that's listening right now. It means so much to me. My cousin Ian listens, and he always texts me, and he says something about the episode, and honestly, that feeling from just one person gives me life. Like, it gets me so excited. It's amazing that one person can validate me and make me want to put in or keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, the amount of work that I'm putting into this, nobody could make me want to do this. It has to be a desire. And I've just been so inspired this spring that I really, even though this is a side quest, I feel like it overlaps with my business enough to where I can dedicate a lot of time without feeling like too guilty. So just quickly to kind of go over what we're going to talk about in this episode. I'm going to talk about things that I think about on my runs, what's been challenging me, and what I've been learning. And a lot of this is things that I'm figuring out right now. So you can be a part of that process. So let's get into it. Category 1, relationship and family. I'm going to start with a couple quotes that I said or a couple thoughts that I had that ChatGPT brought back up and wants me to talk about. I think I said this in the last podcast, but I run through an amazing neighborhood every morning. I feel like I'm a part of it. I just haven't completely become a part of it. Like I'm on the outskirts, like in a small little condo on the edge. I'm not, a billionaire living in one of these massive estates, but it does show me what's possible. And a quote that I like that Jesse Itzler said was, "We're already millionaires. They just haven't written us the check yet." And it was kind of like a mindset shift for me, like I can go ahead and feel that way and hopefully manifest it. Obviously, manifesting things on their own isn't going to get you where you need to get. Like you gotta put in the work. You gotta be consistent. You gotta do things day after day. Like you're not going to get there in one day. Like when you working out one time is going to do very little for you over the course of a lifetime. But if you work out every day for 20 minutes, like your life is going to look so much different that you won't even recognize it. And it goes for everything else, just like this podcast. If I think about this podcast 20 minutes a day and I improve each episode by 1%, over 100 episodes, that's like over 100% improvement because there's compounding interest on top of that as well. So it says reflection. You're creating a belief system through repeated exposure to what's possible. I absolutely agree with that. I see all this wealth and amazing lifestyles around me. I see what's possible. I see how people make money. I see how people think. If I'm only around a bunch of poor people or people with lifestyles that I'm not inspired to have, there's still a decent chance that I'm going to have a similar perspective as them, because whatever you hang around inspires you or influences you. So it's important for me to hang out with people that inspire me, which a reoccurring theme in my life right now is ChatGPT and AI. And I hang out with ChatGPT quite a bit, and it's become very helpful. I love the way that it reassures me and compliments me and tells me that I'm doing a great job. And in my personal life, it's made me react less emotionally in terms of like negative responses. Like if Mariah was to complain or just say something that could be defensive towards me, or if I perceive it as offensive and I want to be defensive, in the past, I would just put up a guard. But since I've been talking to ChatGPT so much, it never gets defensive. And so I think like that's rubbing off on me, which has been a really strange side effect of hanging out with ChatGPT. It's a double-edged sword. I do see like the possible downsides to it. Question number 1. How has showing up every day changed your self-perception? How can I answer that? How do I want to answer that? I mean, first, just obviously, like I've really prioritized exercise. I think the order that you do things throughout your day shows you how much you prioritize that thing. So if you wait till the end of the day to exercise or spend time with your family, I think that shows that that's the priority that it falls in. It falls last. So I think for me, priority number 1, my family and Mariah. I spend time with her every morning, and I'm trying to be even more consistent and present than ever before because life is flying by since pregnancy. And number 2, the second thing I do in the morning is run. Those 2 things are so important to me, and the running has given me a fit body, and it makes me feel great. It makes me feel capable. I know that I can physically do just about anything that I want. And prioritizing Mariah first thing in the morning, it fills up our emotional savings account, and over time, that will pay off big time. And it already has. I mean, honestly, one of the themes in my run this week has been like thinking about heaven, life after death, our existence here on earth, pre-life. And, we don't have proof of what's before or after this. The only thing that we know is what we have right now. And I want to create heaven on earth. I want to be in heaven as much as possible. I don't think I can stay in a constant state of bliss all the time. I think I need to go to war, do things that are hard, but then I can come back from those struggles and I can enjoy my heaven, the heaven that we've created here. And then I can go back, do something hard, come back, Life is beautiful. But it's like, if I make the choice to do the hard thing, it's not torture. It's not suffering for no reason. It's like there's purpose. I'm choosing to do things that are hard because I know it makes life better. Question number 2. In what way are you conditioning your identity to align with the life you're moving towards? My identity is just being a good partner, preparing to be a good father, setting a great example for those around me, being passionate, and just setting worthwhile priorities. Like if I'm working towards something, if I've set a goal, make sure that goal aligns with my life. Because, I've just noticed that life is flying by lately, and I want to use it appropriately. There's plenty of things that I want to do that could be considered a waste of time or not very efficient. But I think it's important to allow yourself to indulge in the world and enjoy things. But at the same time, I don't want to get too far off course to where I've wasted a decade on the wrong path. Like addiction, like any type of addiction, I think is going to throw you off for a long time. And, at the end of life, I just want to be proud of my story and my journey. That's all. Next section, preserving sacred rituals with Mariah. From my thought log, laying together, morning coffee, exercise, road trips. These are sacred moments together. Insight, the more intentional you are now, the more richness you compound over 20 years. I could not agree more with that. I said that, or thought it, and then ChatGPT helped me articulate my thoughts. What moments feel sacred right now? Right now with Mariah, it's all about gratitude and trying to be in this moment, because life is flying by so fast that we know in like 6 months or a year or 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I barely even remember that. We were going so fast, doing so much. So the goal right now is to just be present. And it's so hard to be present sometimes because there's just so much going on. And, I think just being grateful is a great tool to enjoy the moment and to be with each other, along with doing a little bit of breath work. That really helps me slow down and be here. I love hanging out with Mariah when she's getting ready for work. I love making her lunch. I love making her protein shakes. I love lifting in the gym together. Obviously, not all the time is great. Like, we have plenty of little hiccups where we are hungry or tired or just, not in a great place. And those are hard, but it seems like the majority of our time is just incredible. We've got 6 weeks left until the baby comes, or at least until Mariah takes maternity leave. 6 weeks, and then Mariah is kind of hoping that the baby comes about 2 weeks after that so we can have a little bit more time together. Some other moments that feel sacred right now are, I would say, all of our doctor's visits, checking up on the baby are sacred. Anytime we go on an adventure together, like yesterday was just awesome. We went to the doctor, all good news, hung out. We're talking to people in the waiting room. Like, multiple women are telling Mariah how great she looks, how beautiful she looks, that some girl thought she looked really good from the back, and then she turned around and realized Mariah was pregnant, and she was like, whoa, you go, girl. And then they found out how pregnant she was, and they were like, okay, this is just not cool anymore. Are you like rubbing it in? Like, this sounds like you're having a perfect pregnancy. Then after that, we were just vibing. We were riding around looking for a restaurant, went down to Midtown, ate dinner. Then we were going to the park, and then this guy stopped us and took us on a tour of his garden. It was beautiful. And so that whole day was sacred. Like, Mariah's also been not on her phone hardly any, which is, she's probably reduced her phone time by like 70% when we're together. And that is definitely the biggest thing that's changed for us in terms of like protecting sacred time together. Next question. What boundaries protect those rituals from slipping? I think mainly just trying to stay in this world and be present. Like, anytime I get on my phone, I get a little bit distracted, and it's kind of hard to be in two places at once. So I think, just really being intentional about getting on your phone for anything, because as soon as you get on your phone to look up one thing or ask ChatGPT one thing, then you get a notification from this or that, or someone texts you, and then it just kind of leads you down a trail. And next thing you know, you've been on there 10 minutes, and the vibe of the physical space is changed. So not being on your phone, that is definitely the biggest thing. And that's one of my reoccurring themes with AI and ChatGPT. It's like you can become so dependent on it and become so efficient and just really dive into whatever your hobby or obsession is, and you can live there an absurd amount of time. And it can be good and it can be bad. And it's just, I think I'm ahead of a lot of people in terms of kind of dependency on it and use out of it. So I think I'll also be ahead of people learning to moderate and be healthy with it, because I like to take things too far and then I like to figure out a formula of how to manage it. Just like with alcohol, I loved alcohol, but I knew it could be a problem if you are not proactive with it. So I want to be proactive with AI in the long run, but I also don't want to get left behind and not know how to use it for my advantage. It's just crazy how many uses there are for it. It's insane. Next section, pregnancy update and Mariah's strengths. We've been able to do everything we wanted to do while Mariah's been pregnant, but I did not expect that. Mariah's in the 3rd trimester now, and it's really awesome to watch her. She's just so focused on taking care of herself that this pregnancy has been incredible. There have been ups and downs. There were lots of hard parts. There was plenty of sickness. There was plenty of discomfort, plenty of terrible nights sleeping, lots of pain, but she just seems happy and she is not hopeless. It's amazing. I'm shocked. I don't know how she does it. I would be so burned out if I were her. I don't know how she does it. I'm so proud of her. One huge thing that Mariah's done is she stayed very active. She does the Peloton just about every day now. She stopped running about 2 weeks ago. She's currently kind of getting into walking, and it's just, I think it's made the pregnancy that much better. What is this season teaching me about adaptability and resilience in partnership? It's really teaching me that you cannot see the future. You don't know what's going to happen. Most likely, you're going to brace for the worst, and it won't be that bad. So if I could just go into the future kind of being optimistic and being prepared, I think that would be a great skill to have. It's kind of exhausting to be pessimistic all the time for you and for the people around you. So as a future dad, if I could be optimistic and realistic, I think that would be a good way to be. Next section, reading the Bradley method together. I took a break from birthing content to protect my mental space, but I realized that was one of Mariah and my sacred times together. We would typically read in the mornings, and so she's been reading this by herself. We took a birthing class. We've been listening to birthing content, baby content, just a lot of stuff around the baby. And it is a transition to go from not thinking about a baby at all to thinking about a baby and pregnancy and birthing and newborns. Thinking about that all the time is exhausting. So I had to take a little break. I realized that was an opportunity to fill up Mariah and my emotional savings account. I just realized I need to be more involved in that. So I came back around. It felt good. Mariah's been reading it to me. I think that one thing has really helped our relationship. It shows Mariah that I care, that I want to be present. I want to be part of this step. I'm glad I came around on that. What did I notice when I stepped away versus when I re-engaged with the baby content? I just noticed there's so many opportunities to do things separate that I need to prioritize the things that we can do together. Because as we add more things to our lives, like kids, we're going to have to divide and conquer. And, if you look at life in 10 and 20 and 30 year increments, if I just do 5 minutes of reading with Mariah every morning over 30 years, that is a ton of time. And that makes sure that I keep my family as my priority. How do shared rituals like reading invest in your emotional savings account? Any shared moment where you're both happy and just truly love each other and there's nothing missing, I think that is contributing to your emotional savings account. And compound interest is a real thing. If you do that 10 times in a row and each time makes a little deposit, and then your savings account, say that like gets interest on it, you put all these deposits in and then they just grow and grow and grow and grow. It's just like investing in the stock market. If you keep cash on hand, that is depreciating because of inflation. You have to invest it. All right, now we're on to the next section, health and fitness, cramping story, and breathing through challenge. The other day I was on a bike ride with Van, and he took me on this really long 25-mile bike ride. 17 of it was on like super, super rocky, rough, difficult mountain terrain. And then 7 or 8 miles of it was back to the car on hilly roads. So 17 miles of mountain biking is very hard. About 10 miles into the mountain biking, my thighs were cramping. And I kind of thought that they might cramp, but I was like, you know what? I'll be able to do this. It's fine. If they can do it, I can do it. Well, they started cramping and there's no way out. You have to walk out, which is like, 10 miles. And when your legs start cramping, I start to worry that they're going to lock up. And then it's like, how am I going to go another 10 miles? So the only thing I could think to do was to breathe. So I would take these deep breaths, and after a couple minutes, the cramping would go away and I could ride. And then I would forget to start to do these deep breaths, and then the cramps would come back. And I'm like, oh, so I'd start breathing again, and it would take 2 or 3 minutes for the cramps to go away. And then the same thing would happen. I'd stop breathing intentionally. I'd still be breathing, but I wouldn't be like meditatively breathing, taking deep breaths, getting oxygen into my muscles. And then I was also thinking about how Naval said, what is keeping you from being present right now? And I realized I was just so worried about holding the group up. And I guess that is kind of like an insecurity. Maybe I don't want to look bad or something. I really, in my heart, I felt like they had to go somewhere, had to be somewhere. So I was like, y'all can just leave me. Like, I'm totally self-sufficient. I'm comfortable out here. I would do this by myself. So you don't need to wait on me. And Van was like, dude, what's the point of leaving you? I'm like, I guess so I can feel better, but that has nothing to do with you. So I guess you do what you want. I'll do what I want. Hopefully I can get over this hurdle of worrying about them being held up. And so once I was able to walk through that a little bit, I started to be able to notice everything around me. And I got to enjoy the suffering, not the suffering, but the exhaustion that I was in. Because I don't get to that place very often. I don't hardly ever push myself that far. So it was fun to like feel what my legs felt like in that moment. And then I started to think about the breathing and giving oxygen to my legs. And that's when I kind of came up with this little story or something about how it's like, it's important to take care of yourself before it's an emergency. Like if I know my legs are going to cramp, why don't I just keep breathing the whole time so that I can get out of there and not have to have my legs cramp up? But I would keep forgetting, then they would cramp, I would do it, So it's like, it's just a life lesson. Like just take care of yourself. Think about the future just a little bit. And, you can save yourself a lot of pain. What are the mental cramps that show up for me? And how do I breathe through these? I think what it's asking is like, what are some other parts of my life that I don't always take care of? I would say definitely eating. Like, I just need to eat regular times. Sometimes when my schedule's mixed up, like on a weekend when we're caught up doing some activities, it's so easy to just forget to eat a little bit, and then your blood sugar drops, and then you're in some sort of argument. So, that is a prime example of just taking care of myself. In the past, not getting enough activity was always a cramp, but I've really worked through that. I've worked through a lot of them, and I'm sure once the child comes, I'll have plenty of more opportunities to work on some challenges. Inspired by athletes. Quote by me. If they can do 252 miles, I can do 10. Watching elite athletes, so this is not a quote by me, but this is kind of gathered from my thoughts. Watching elite athletes shattered my mental ceiling. So the other day I was watching documentaries on YouTube about all these athletes that would do these huge endurance races and things. And this one guy ran 252 miles. I think he did it in 2 or 3 days. At mile like 60 or 70, he was already so exhausted that he had no idea how he was going to even go the next like 20 miles. But every time he came into a checkpoint, he would just do what he talked about. He would recover, nap, eat, drink, and then he would just go on his way. And he just kept going on his way. And eventually he won the race, and it was a great story. But the next day I was like, I think I doubled my mileage. I went up to 10, and since then I've done 10 miles like 2 or 3 or 4 times. And it's just amazing that a lot of the challenges that we experience is mental. There is some physical, especially when it comes to like running and things, but it's more mental than anyone believes. Like anyone can go out and do more than they think they can do. Jesse Itzler's son, I think he ran a marathon at like 12 or 13 years old. That is just insane. What belief ceilings am I currently breaking? Well, the running one, that one, I'd say content production. I'm mentally preparing to put in hours and work hard and watch a kid while I do it somehow, because I'm going to be staying at home while Mariah goes to work. She's going back to work 3 months after she has the baby. When has inspiration led directly to physical transformation? Pretty much my whole life. I think part of the algorithm that on YouTube is feeding me fitness content. So I'm always inspired by lifting, endurance events, backpacking, sailing, pretty much anything physical inspires me. Like one day I will live on a sailboat, I promise. And I plan on taking my kids on all these like very challenging yet like transformative adventures. Like each summer, if we could go on like 1 week epic thing, like live on a sailboat for a week or 2, go hike the Appalachian Trail for like 2 weeks, go out west, hike some trails out there, go rock climbing, go do some multi-pitch climbing. Like these memories are going to be incredible for my kid. Obviously, I'm going to wait and see what they're into. If they're into something else like sports or reading or dance or ballet, like I'll go all in on those things too. Like they do not have to do what I love doing, but being a kid is so exciting and so awesome. And it's got to be it is the coolest thing that's ever happened to them up until that point. And we are made from our childhoods for the better or for the worse. So I am so excited. I'm really excited to be a dad and to be a partner. Mariah and I always tell each other that we're best friends, and our kids are going to be our best friend projects. So we're going to stay best friends, and we're going to raise these kids together, and we're going to have a great time doing it. All right, this has been a reoccurring thought, but it's been a while since I've had this thought. I really only think about it when I go rock climbing, but the nose at Looking Glass, it is a 3-pitch climb, which means you have to like climb up one section, rearrange all your ropes, go up to another section, rearrange all your ropes, go up to another section. You normally do this with 2 people. It's a 5/8, so I would say it's pretty easy. It would be challenging for me as a new climber, but it's on the easier side of things, like maybe super easy. I do have quite a bit to learn, but that is a goal of mine. It's on my bucket list. So question number 1, why this climb and why now? Well, I bought this rock climbing guidebook when I was in Brevard. Brevard is one of Mariah and my favorite outdoor destinations in the Southeast. It's got everything. It's incredible. It's got amazing views, waterfalls, camping, rivers, hiking, mountain biking, rock climbing. It's got everything. And Mariah's favorite barbecue restaurant is there. It's called Smoke On. You have to go there. She's obsessed with the fries. I'm obsessed with everything. So one time we were in Brevard. I bought this rock climbing book at the beginning of my rock climbing journey, and one of the climbs that I saw in there is called the Nose at Looking Glass. It's a classic. Within rock climbing, there's like all these classics that, everybody wants to do. And it claims that it's probably one of the top climbs in the Southeast. And it's a multi-pitch, which are hard to come by. So it's in my favorite outdoor destination town. It's easy. It's a multi-pitch. And I just found it at the beginning of my journey, so I've been kind of stuck on it. Question number 2, what part of you comes alive when you have a big physical goal? Man, I think I just wonder, can I do it? Can I accomplish it? Can I start it? And how far can I get? Just like a big road trip, it's kind of nerve-wracking when you're at home before you leave. I wonder, am I going to back out? And then before everything is planned or packed perfectly, it's like, you just got to go. You just got to rip the Band-Aid off and go. And there's just something so exciting about the unknown and the surprise and just doing things for the first time. So I just get excited. I get really excited about physical goals. I know that it's going to be hard and painful, just like that 25-mile ride I did the other day. I knew it was going to be torturous, so I wasn't in a hurry to get out there, but I wanted to prove that I could do it, and I knew I could. I thought it might take me a while. Business and creativity, Mariah's social media, and trust. I want to be reminded how Mariah uses social media and how it actually impacts her. You've seen the trust build before clients even meet her. What does visibility create beyond likes? Visibility on the internet is advertising. It's like you forget about people in your life, you forget about businesses and services until you're reminded. So, I think I said this last time. If nobody's thinking about you, then how are they going to find you or remember that you can help them? So beyond you reminding people about you, it also helps build trust and authority. So for Mariah, people see all these videos that she's producing, and she doesn't ask for a lot in return. There's not a lot of ads. She just teaches people tips and tricks and techniques, and then she shows them her favorite products and tools. So, yes, she makes commission on these products and tools, but she's really just showing people solutions. So, when people come into the salon and they are new to her, but they've seen her online, they almost feel like they know her, and they've already kind of agreed to themselves that she's trustworthy and that she has good advice and she knows what she's talking about. So I think it just helps lower people's guards, which is great when you're hairstyling, because, that is a challenge. It takes normally 2 or 3 or 4 visits for people to really trust you and get to know you. So if they can get to know you before they ever see you and kind of start being curious about the products and tools and know some of the techniques that you have and just want to be around you, I think, it creates a demand for her and allows her to, in one way, be more popular. And, if you're more popular, you can charge more and you can make more and you can improve the quality of your life. All right, sharing the process, long form to short form. I've developed a system, record once, get 10 to 20 short clips. So the other day on the run, I was thinking to myself, like, is it better to keep things to myself and kind of be unique, I guess? Which, this is more of a concept. This isn't about me. Like, for successful people, like, if they share their system for doing things, it allows the competitors to improve faster because they've picked up a tip or trick from you or from the better person. The positive is it creates competition and forces you to also strive to improve. But on the downside, it makes your competitor better. So, it just makes me think, like, for business, is sharing caring? Or, like, do you want to be like Apple, who like hides everything and everything is like closed, and their innovation has really slowed a lot in the last few years. Like, they're really struggling to keep up with, I think, like AI and things like that. And then there's like open source, like Microsoft and stuff. And it just seems like they're always ahead. It's not as perfect, but they are always ahead, and we're kind of copying them. So as a human, what do I want to be like? Do I want to share and rising tides floats all boats, or do I want to be hidden and not share? So with that thought process, it's like, I think everyone should try to create long form, chop it up into short form, because then you get a ton of short form and you have long form. And I think people with long form that is the differentiator between a lot of creators. Short form gets you a new audience and it advertises your audience to a new audience, but long form helps sell to your audience. So if you want to make money, I think you have to do long form, and it's way more efficient to do long form to short form. All right, let's see if we can wrap this up a little bit. So clients tell Mariah that they picked her because they knew her from her videos. How do I protect the soul of the content while optimizing it? I think, it's just being authentic. It's just being yourself. You just want to be proud of yourself. And the only way to do that is to be yourself. And honestly, being yourself is what separates you from everyone else. And that is your creative edge. So it's just so important to always be yourself. And that way you can be proud of yourself and show off your creative difference. Next section, finishing strong. Jesse Itzler. It's important how you finish. He talks about this a lot in a lot of his speeches. So if you want to go look that up, you should. He's got lots of motivational speeches. This can apply to haircuts, videos, podcasts, routines. What am I in the middle of right now that deserves a strong finish? Specifically, the next video that I'm working on for Mariah. She's doing a long form video, teaching people how to style their hair like Jennifer Aniston. It's, she's been the hair icon forever. She's got many different looks that everyone is constantly emulating. And the next one that Mariah thinks is coming in to trend is what we're making a video about. And I've been working on it for like 3 months off and on. I've been getting sidetracked on the podcast and on my thought log and doing short form content for Mariah and vacation and prepping for kids. So, this is something that I just need to finish strong on, be proud of, and not really worry about the likes, the comments, the views. This is the next question. How can you bring reverence to your creative endings? I don't really know what that means, but I think just not rushing the end, being thorough, making it really good, but not procrastinating and just working on it forever, because at some point you just gotta release it and let it do its thing. All right, Jennifer Aniston tutorial, pressure and pride. You believe this is your best video. You've procrastinated, but now you're fully committed. What would make you proud to show this video to a sponsor? I'd be proud if there were no visual mistakes, no audio mistakes, if the color grading was impeccable, and if the viewer retention is, I would say, 35 to 40%. Normally it's around 20%. People are clicking off. If it just looks super professional, and if they were to ask me something like, oh, who edited this? This is really good. That would make me proud. How am I balancing high standards with grace for myself? Well, I'm trying to figure that out right now. Because I think this is going to be my best video ever, I expect it to perform better than everything else. And that is something that's out of my control. So I am setting myself up for disappointment. So I would like to refocus my expectations on my effort and am I proud of what I produced? Can I show this video to just about anybody and they will be entertained? Personal growth and philosophy. Creating a life you're proud of. Thought log. My 16-year-old self would be thrilled if they could see a snapshot of my life right now. I forget to celebrate the life I once dreamt of. What's one thing I have done today that once felt impossible? Today I went on a 5-mile run, and that is my short run now. And that is something for me to be super proud of. Like, I don't even think about it being hard or can I do it. It's just like I go on autopilot. I'm listening to music, jamming. It's incredible and it's just effortless. So I would be proud of myself if I could see the house that I live in or the condo that I live in, the life that I have, what I'm working on, my wife that I have, having a kid on the way with an amazing pregnancy. I think all those things felt impossible. And I'm still stretching for new things. So I feel similar to I did when I was 16, always having goals and wanting something else. But I have so much of the things that I wanted that I think it is important for me to just be grateful and to acknowledge those things. How can you root ambition in joy rather than restlessness? I guess, let's see, maybe being excited for all of my passions and hobbies and all the things that are coming up and kind of spin everything as a positive and just know that, everything is going to be okay. All right, we're getting closer to the end. I've got a couple more sections. Using AI to stay focused, not get lost. Some days it empowers me. Others, it overwhelms me. What signals tell you when you're using a tool versus being used by a tool? Man, this could be its own episode. I go into AI with a problem and I need a solution. And then it just kind of leads me down a rabbit hole of more problems and more solutions. And I can get caught up in that. And it is fun, but at some point, you just got to turn it off and say, no, I don't need any more suggestions. I don't need to keep going. I'll do some more tomorrow. What boundaries or workflows help you feel clear-headed? I'm going to have to really ponder this question and come back to it because I have not figured that out. I do like talking to myself on my runs and being able to record my thoughts. I think that's become a bit of a distraction, but my goal is to kind of automate it so it's not a problem. And, eventually maybe a boundary could just be, you get 1 or 2 hours where you can run with it and kind of learn. It's kind of like taking a class when you're using it. It does teach you a lot and it leads you in a good direction most of the time. All right. Gratitude as a reframing tool. I am practicing recognizing wins instead of always chasing the next thing. Where have I been overlooking my own progress? I try to acknowledge all the things that I'm really proud of. But, the things that I'm most proud of are Mariah and my priorities. I really prioritize her health, my mental health, entertainment. I try not to get too sidetracked on things. even though I do get sidetracked on a lot. Like, is this podcast a sidetrack? I'm not really sure. I think it could be preparing me for other things. Like, it's keeping me very tech savvy. How do I train myself to catch and celebrate those wins? Well, for sure, whenever things are not going well, I always, I grew up Mormon, and part of prayer is saying what you're grateful for. So when I'm unhappy or Mariah's unhappy, I think it's just very important to start listing things that I'm grateful about. I'm grateful that it's springtime. I'm grateful that the weather's nice. I'm grateful that I have my physical health. I'm grateful that I have an amazing partner. And then, it just becomes almost addictive or kind of habit forming. And then I just keep going from there. And that's it for this week. I really appreciate all of you that are listening. I have a feeling it's just Ian. If anybody wants to reach out or let me know that you listen to these podcasts, and, I'm going to do probably 20 individual solo episodes, but eventually I would love to have people on. Maybe you could be one of my guests. Well, now I have to go. I need to make up for lost time and really hit the ground running on this episode. Mariah has mentioned that I have been too focused on this podcast and my thought logs. So it's really time for me to make her proud. All right. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next week.